Howdy y'all, Amber here and welcome back to Ginger Cowgirls Nook. Today we will be coloring out of 50 Romances by Kameliya, Angelica. I do know that the video is a little dark, but I'm sorry, I will be getting new lights very soon. So I just started this picture and I forgot to turn on the camera, so I'm just using some pin gears. I used a pink and a yellow to go so far, and here we are. So how's everyone doing? Great, I hope. I hope everybody's doing well. How was everybody's week and weekend? Mine was actually okay. I actually had a pretty good weekend, although I thought that my weekend would be bad. As you know, this weekend, I went on my mini vacation with my best friend that we've been planning for a while. And we're going to talk about it. So, our vacation was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I went to go pick her up on Friday. And it was snowing like crazy. But it had just started when I started warming up my car and stuff to go get her. So I'm like, okay. My husband's like, you know what? The canyon's going to be getting shut down. You might want to take the back way to get where you're going. I told him thank you. I got in my car and went to my best friend's house. I arrived at my best friend's house. She had gotten off work late, so she had all of her stuff packed, but she was still, she had gotten out of the shower. She still needed to get dressed and, brush her hair and stuff like that. So I told her that I would go and put her bag in the car. She wasn't worried about doing her makeup or anything like that because of the attraction that we had planned for that day. So she gets all ready. We get in the car and we start heading down. And I asked her, I said, do you think we should take the back way? I don't think the canyon's going to be closed by the time that we get there, but it will be closed. And she's like, yeah, well, no, let's just take the canyon. It'll be faster, and since we're late anyways, let's go ahead and do that. So I'm like, okay, let's go ahead and do that. So we get in the car and we start heading down that way. And when we get to the canyon, and it's only like 15 minutes away, you guys, there was cops, and they were just, it's about 30 minutes away. They were like making sure that cars can't go down the canyon. So we're like, great, should have listened to my husband in the first place, should have went down the back way. So we start going down, so we have to turn around, drive 30 minutes back the way we just came, so that we can get to where we need to go without going through the canyon, which was shut down. So we get headed down the canyon, and as it gets closer to 2:30, my friend's like, you know what, we're not going to make the attraction. Let me call him. So she called Sequest, which was the attraction that we are going to go to on our way to our hotel destination. And we were going to swim with the stingrays, and we had two other animal encounters that we were going to do. We were going to play with the sloth, and we were going to play with the otters. We were so excited about this one. Like, this was like going to be the big thing of our vacation. And we were just going to do it first because it was on the way to where our hotel was, which was in the middle of our other destinations that we're going to, because we are going to go to Sequest. We are going to go to the aviary, and we are going to go to Scales and Tells. And then we are going to go to the big aquarium. So she gets on the phone with Sequest. She calls and asks if we can reschedule, because she's going to go see if we could reschedule the encounter for a later date. But there's no answer. So she leaves a voice message asking to call her back, that it was really important, and it was about our encounter and all that fun stuff. They didn't answer. She got the voicemail, so she left the voicemail, And then she's like, you know what, I'll just try to call him back in a few minutes. Well, in 10 minutes, she called him back. Got a hold of somebody this time. By this time, we knew we were already going to be late to the encounter. There was no way we were going to make the time to get there. So she gets on the phone, explains the situation, and they're like, no, we cannot reschedule it. It's already past the time that you were supposed to be here. So therefore, we can't reschedule it. And my best friend's like, well, because I'm assuming that the guy said something about not calling ahead, and because my best friend, she's like, I tried to call 10 minutes ago and nobody answered the phone. So I left a voice message and I didn't get a call back. And so I called back. And so he gets going and he goes, I'm sorry, we can't move your encounter today. And she goes, okay, well, what about tomorrow? And he's like, I'm sorry, we can't do it tomorrow. And so she's like, well, can I get my money back then? Because, I can't do it. And the guy's like, yeah, we could definitely do that. So they issued her a refund. And we were sad. We were upset, you guys. Like, we were so excited. I was so excited for the sloth. She was so excited to go swimming with the stingrays and the sharks. I mean, I was excited for that too, but not nearly as excited as she was for that part. And so our start of our weekend was pretty crappy. So we're like, well, I guess we're just going to go to the hotel. There's nothing else that we can do. So then we start thinking of things that we could do where our hotel was, which was, about another hour, a half hour to an hour away from where Sequest was. And so we get thinking, I'm like, well, I could take you to the mall. I know where the Disney store is. Like, in this particular mall, there's a Disney store. We could go there. We're both avid Disney fans. So she's like, yeah, let's go do that. And she's like, we could also catch a movie. I'm like, okay. She goes, my husband says that The Croods 2 is playing. I'm like, well, I've already seen that one, but I don't have any objections going to see it again. And then she's like, well, I hear the Soul's a good one. That one's playing. And we're like, okay, well, we'll figure it out. I'm all like, but we'll definitely go to the Disney store. And then she wanted to go to the Blue Boutique because, Valentine's Day around the corner, and because she wants a new corset. So I'm like, yeah, we could definitely go there too. Not a problem. So we get down, we get checked in. I take her to the Disney store. She has a blast. We go into Blue Boutique. She didn't find what she wanted, but that was okay. It was fun, for her to try on the corsets and, for her to look at lingerie and stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, awesome. So then we're like, well, do you want to go to the movies now? Like, what do you want to do? And she's like, no, I don't want to go to the movies. Honestly, I'm pretty sad because of the situation of us not being able to go to Sequest. And I'm like, fair enough, And then we get a call stating that we can make it to Sequest on Sunday. They had an opening. So we're like, oh, crap. Now we got to figure out what to do. Because on Sunday, our plan was to go to the big aquarium and then head home. So we get thinking about it, and I've been to all these places that we went to on vacation, like, I've been to. However, she hasn't been to a few of them. So I'm like, you know what, it'll be fine. I'm like, I think with us and the kids, if we get there when the big aquarium opens at 11 and we leave by 3, we can make it to our encounter, I'm like at 4:30. And she's like, do you really think that we can make it through the aquarium with that much time? And I'm like, yeah, I think we could without, having our kids. She goes, all right, let's do it. I'm like, let's give it a try. I'm like, I really think we could. I said, I think it'll be super tight, but I think we could really do it if we stick to it and we don't. I think we could do it. And she's like, okay, let's do it. And so we're like, all right, well, there's our new plan. We're going to go to our favorite encounter just before we go home. It's going to be awesome. Like, okay. So we get to the hotel and we didn't do nothing because we're still kind of sad, but then we're kind of sort of happy because we've got our big attraction that we were most excited for, like, figured out. And I'm like, you know what? Tomorrow's a better day. I'm like, let's just go to the hotel. Let's relax. She's like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I said we could go to the hot tub. She's like, no, I just kind of just want to relax when we get to the hotel and not do anything. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Because she had worked also that Friday. Or no, she hadn't worked Friday. She was going to work Friday, but then her schedule got moved. You know, and our husbands, like, I didn't sleep very much, like, the night before we went on vacation. Like, I had a really hard time, so my husband, like, let me sleep in until, like, 12, and I was supposed to be to my best friend's house at 1 to pick her up, and I get there, and she's like, I just barely got up. I'm like, yeah, well, we'll be alright. We'll be fine. We got this. You know, so she was exhausted. I was exhausted from driving, not to mention she works very long shifts in her field. And I'm like, and she had worked every single day for many, you know, quite a few weeks. And I'm like, you know what, it's fine. We could go back there. I got my crochet. You know, like, we got the TV that we could watch. We got, you know, phones that we could play on. Let's just do that. So we do that. And, you know, we went to bed, and then the next day, you know, we woke up refreshed. We woke up, you know, with a new start and all of that. So first thing we go to is a thing called Scales and Tells, and me and my best friend are so in love with reptiles. Like, I'm a lizard mommy. She is about to get her a snake at the next reptile expo. She's super excited about it, and we just love animals in general because we're both vet techs, you know, but we're like, let's go to Scales and Tells. And I didn't think it would be much of anything. It was really small. I've never really heard about it before. That's the one thing on our vacation that I hadn't went to before. And I'm like, all right, you know, this might be great. So we go in there. It's super small. Well, it looks super small. We go in there and we see so many different snakes, alligators, crocodiles, tarantulas, lizards, and we're able to, like, interact with some of them. Like, every snake we wanted to hold, we could hold. I held a lizard. I was kind of at first really upset because I didn't get to see many lizards, and, like, that's kind of my thing. But I also was not very upset because there was this little boy that was in our tour group, and he absolutely loved all of the snakes. And it was so awesome to see him be so excited for, you know, all of these snakes that he was able to hold. And so it was really awesome. We ended up meeting a snapping turtle. Obviously, we couldn't touch the snapping turtle. We met a little alligator that they got out and let us, like, see, and, like, they let the alligator walk around. Of course, the mouth was taped and stuff, and nobody was able to, like, pick him up or hold him. However, when his handler was with us, we were able to, like, pet his tail and stuff, so that was awesome. Like I said, my best friend held so many snakes. And then he goes, do you want to go see the big snakes? And of course we're like, yeah, let's do it. And so the little boy that was so enthused with snakes picked the snake that we were going to check out. It was a big 12-foot, 85.6 pound snake that, you know, we were able to hold. My best friend, like, tried to guess the weight. She got it right. You know, she was able to pick it up and get it right because, you know, she lifts 80 pound dogs all the time. I thought it was about 100 pounds. She thought it was 85, turned out to be 85.6. So she did a really good job guessing it. Then we have a picture of just me and my best friend holding that huge snake. So that was really awesome. I did get to hold a bearded dragon. Now, I don't think that bearded dragons are, like, kind of like lizards that, they're very common lizards. So I was excited to hold one, but I was hoping for like a different one. But I did see this big tree monitor, and it reminded me so much of my Scorchy. He was big. He liked sitting on the handler's head. His tail went clear down the handler's back. It was really, really awesome, you guys. And then my best friend, I was so dang proud of her. So she's absolutely petrified of tarantulas. Petrified. But her son, my nephew Ricky, absolutely loves them. Loves them. And I told my best friend, I'm like, you know what, I'll hold the tarantula so you can get a really good picture. For Rue, I call him Rue. And she's like, you know what? No, I want to hold this. And I'm like, are you sure? Like, because I know she don't like tarantulas. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hold it for Ricky. And I'm like, all right. So she holds it, in her hand. She's like freaking out. But luckily, because of the mask, she can't see it. Like, I was taking her picture, and I knew immediately, like, the second she all tensed up. But nobody could really see that in the picture. And I was so proud of her, you guys. So proud of her. And so we left that attraction. And then the next attraction on the list was Tracy's Aviary. And so we went there. I've been to Tracy's Aviary before. But she had not been to Tracy's Aviary before. So we went, and I'm like, it's small. I mean, it's in the middle of a park. I'm like, it's small, but there's lots of really cool birds in there. And she's like, you know what? I've never been. It'll be awesome. Let's just do it. And I'm like, okay, because she told me her plans about way before we went on the vacation of what she wanted to do. And then I told her, I'm like, well, I've been to these places. They're really cool. But then we get to Tracy's Aviary. And honestly, I hadn't been there for a while, y'all. And I forgot how many birds they have there. They have so many different birds. They're everything from toucans to vultures to owls. Pretty much every bird that you could imagine is at Tracy's Aviary. And so she was super excited about that. She'd never been there. It turned out pretty cool. I was kind of like sad though, because the last time we went there with my family, there was a big vulture named Andy. And I really wanted Chelsea to see that one. However, he wasn't there this time. And so I took her over to where his enclosure was, and he wasn't there. But then I remembered that, he was kind of getting too big for his enclosure last time I was there. So I'm like, well, maybe they've temporarily moved him, or maybe it's too cold for him right now. And so we keep walking through, and there's this huge pen that they're setting up like towards the back of the aviary. And I'm like, you know what? I bet that is where they're going to put Andy. But it was good. We saw a lot of really cool birds and stuff there. So that was really, really awesome. And then we went back to the hotel, and we were like kind of excited for this part and like kind of not. So if you watched my last video, I explained to y'all how me and my best friend are not girly girls. Absolutely whatever, not. But we decided that we were going to do a mini like spa thing. So we bought face masks and feet masks and hand masks, and we bought some fingernail polish and stuff like that we can do, there at the hotel. And that was that night. And we were kind of excited about it. I was excited to sit in the hot tub at the hotel, which we did do, and it was amazing. And then we started on our little adventure of doing our little pedicures and stuff. But before we did that, we had to go to the store for something, and we bought snacks and stuff, you know, and then we're like, you know what, we found some pajamas, and I'm like, oh, let's get matching pajamas, it'll be awesome. So we ended up getting matching pajamas. We did face masks, and we painted each other's toenails, and I taught her how to do it because she, even though I'm the more non-girly one of us, she, on the other hand, is the much more feminine one. But she don't do like fingernails and stuff. But I, on the other hand, can do nails and can do makeup. Not that I ever do them really on myself, but I do like acrylics on like family and friends. You know, I do makeup for weddings and all that kind of stuff. So I'm like, you know what? All right. I'll show you what to do. So I did hers first, and she kind of watched me do it, you know, and I did we did our toes first. So, you know, I like pushed back. We did a foot soak first, and then we did a foot mask. And then we did the toenails. So, you know, I clipped the toenails, filed them down, pushed back the cuticles, painted them with normal, just like a normal paint, and then I put what I call tippies on them. They're actually known as a French manicure, but I put tippies on some of her nails, and she had bought a stamping plate that she really wanted to use, so I put her stamp plate roses on some of her toenails and stuff, and then they turned out really, really pretty. Like, she knew they were. For my whole wedding, when I got married, I did everybody's nails in acrylic or painted, depending. Did everybody's makeup. I did everybody's hair, you know, kind of thing. So she knew that they would look awesome. And they did. And then it was her turn to do mine. Now, first of all, I don't like my feet being touched. Second of all, she didn't know, you know, what to do. So I like kind of walked her through it. So like I had clipped my toenails by my, you know, I clipped my toenails, and I filed them down. So that all she had to do is to like paint them, put the stamp on them. You know, she wanted to do some tippies, so I let her do that. And then at the end, obviously, we put cuticle oil on. So I tell her, I said, all right, darling, here's what you do. So I give her the little thing, and I'm like, first thing you got to do is you got to push back the cuticles. And so I explained to her how to do that. So she did that. And then she's like, okay, now what do you do? And I'm like, well, now you take your file. You file across the top of the nail to get the dead skin off. You file around the tip of the nail where I had already clipped them to make sure, you know, it's a nice edge. So she did all of that, and then she's like, okay, what colors do you want to do? And so I told her what colors I wanted, and then I explained to her the easiest ways I find to paint toenails, you know, so they're not streaky or anything. So I told her how to do that, and then I'm like, well, I want this to be matte. And she's like, well, what does that mean? So I told her that we needed to put the matte. I wanted like my black nail polish to be matte, and then we took a red fingernail polish and did like tippies on. And so I told her that we had to paint them, and then we had to put the matte polish on, the black one, so that we could tip them. She did that, and then I taught her how to tip the nails, put tippies on, aka a French manicure, if you know what that is. And then she's like, you know what, I really want to try this stamp plate thing on you. And I'm like, you know what, I have, like, because I had brought like my stamp plates. Yes, I have them, but mine are like in this cute little book. So I brought mine just in case she wanted to look at some of those. And so she found scorpions, and she's like, you know what, this is fitting to you. Teach me how to do this stamping. And so I explained to her how to do the stamping. We had to do it, you know, 3 or 4 times, but you know, it was all right. It was fine. We had nothing better to do that night. Just chilling in the hotel room. And I had her put the latex stuff around my fingernails for when we do the stamping, so it just like pulls it away without anything, you know. So she was really, really excited about all this stuff. I'm like, all right. And then we got easy press on fingernails that we just wore while we were for the last day. You know, I'm like, we could do these in the morning. They're super easy to put on. Super easy to put on. She's like, okay. You know, and then we went to sleep. Well, then the next day was the huge day for us. Huge day for us. We were going to the huge aquarium. And we are going to SeaQuest. So we went to the huge aquarium. You know, we got to look at lots of cool things. We got to walk through the shark tunnel. You know, we didn't have any animal encounters at this aquarium. But it was really nice. Like, we walked through it and everything like that. We didn't feel pressured, or we were able to focus instead of running around chasing our kids and whatever. So it was really nice to do. And then we actually got out of there way before we had anticipated that we would. And so I'm like, you know what, let's go get some lunch. We could go early over to SeaQuest. You know, we could walk around the mall because SeaQuest is in a mall. I'm like, we could eat at the food court. Like, it'll be awesome. It's just like, okay. So we head to where SeaQuest is. And first we, you know, walk around the mall. We had lots of animal counters at SeaQuest. Like, we planned to swim with the stingrays and the sharks. We were going to have a sloth encounter. We were going to have a river otter encounter. You know, so that's why we were most excited about that one. So we get there. I tried Greek food for the first time ever. It was actually really good, y'all. I actually really like Greek food. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee because I've been talking for a while now, and yeah. Ah, it's not coffee. I forgot. It's hot chocolate. It's been a while since I made it, because I've been trying to figure out which way to record on my cell phone to make it when I upload it onto YouTube that is not as sideways for you guys. And let me tell you how big of a pain this is. I started that at 10 o'clock at night, trying to figure out which way to turn my phone. 98 mini videos later, I finally figured out if I hold my phone horizontal with my camera facing that way when it's uploaded, or like when I go to upload it, it is upside down when it gets uploaded onto YouTube. Then if I place my phone on the tripod, which is right here, with the camera to my right, it's sideways. If I place my phone with my camera this way, it's upside down. And if I place it with my camera that way, it's right side up. So hopefully, I'm going to say it one more time. Hopefully, my videos will be the right way when they are posted onto YouTube. It's been driving me nuts. I've been trying to figure it out. I thought I had got it figured out with my last week's videos. I thought I had it figured out, so I recorded the way that I thought it needed to be recorded, and as y'all know, they were sideways. So I spent many hours, 4 hours to be exact, trying to figure out how the hell to put my phone on the tripod thingy to make it the right way. And I swear, you guys, if it is not the right way, I might lose my cool. Anyways, that's besides the point. That's off track. Got a little... You guys saw a little bit of my frustration. I'm sorry about that, y'all. I am human, and I really want these videos to be great for you guys. It's the whole reason I make them, is for the best viewing experience over there at your all's end when you guys watch them. It's been a struggle, y'all. It's been a struggle. But hopefully it's all figured out. Anyway, what was I saying before I went on my little tangent? What was I saying? Oh, yes. So we got to the mall where Sequest is. And we were just like, you know what, we're going to walk around the mall. We were really hungry at this point. So we're like, you know what, let's just go to the food court here and let's find something to eat. And so we walk into the food court. And I'm like, what do I want to eat? You know, there was Chinese, Japanese, Chick-fil-A, hot dog place. There was Orange Julius. There was a Greek place. There's pizza place. There's Chick-fil-A. And I'm like, what do I want to eat? What do I want to eat? And my bestie, she's like, you know what? At first we were gonna get like Chinese food or food from Japan, but then my bestie's like, you know what? My husband will be so mad at me if I come here on my mini vacation and I just eat what I normally always eat. And I'm like, fair enough. I'm like, well, what would you like to eat? And then she's like, you know what? I'm gonna go to the Greek place. I'm like, well, I've never had Greek food. She's like, oh, dude, you gotta try it. It's like the best. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. Like, usually I'm not one to try different things, but on this vacation, I was proud of myself. I tried German food at a little German place, which my friend thought was hysterical because my grandparents on my daddy's side are German. And I'm like, but I've never tried like any of their food. So I'm like, you know what, let's do it. You know, so she's like, we're going to go to the German place. Her husband kept bugging her to go to the German place. So she's like, fine, we'll go to the German place. You know, that was the night before we had left the hotel on Saturday night. And so on Saturday night, I tried German food. It was actually really, really good. And got some German candy. So that was exciting. And so she's like, you know what, let's just keep... And I'm like, you know what? So come Sunday when we're trying to figure out where we want to eat at the mall before we go to Sequest, she's going to Greek food. I never ate Greek food. So I'm like, you know what, let's try it. Like, I tried German food. You know what, let's try Greek food too. So I got a kebab, and there was like rice and potatoes and salad that came on my plate. And I'm like, you know what? Let's go for it. The kebab was so good, you guys. So good. My best friend got lemon fries, which she had never tried before, and a gyro. The lemon fries were actually really, really good. I really, really liked the lemon fries. I really liked my kebab. I really, really liked my rice, except it's lemon rice, except for they put chipotle on it, chipotle powder, and I could eat hot food. So, you know, it didn't bug me too much, but I'm like, I don't like the chipotle on it. And then, so that was good. I tried the potatoes. They were just potatoes, you know, whole potatoes cut up into smaller pieces, but they had this sauce on it. I did not like that sauce, but the potatoes were good. And then on the salad, it was a good salad. It had romaine lettuce and black olives, banana peppers, onions on it, which I don't really care for, but luckily they cut the long red ones, so like I was able to like pick them out, so that was good. Carrots, and the salad was really good. The dressing that they put on it was a lemon something, and so it was like pretty good. So yeah, it was good. And then it's still early before our encounter, like still like an hour before like our animal encounters was scheduled. So we're like, you know what, let's just walk through the aquarium. You know, if we see anything else that we want to do, we could go ahead and do that. And whatever. So that was a lot of fun. So we get walking through the aquarium, and our original plan was to swim with the stingrays and the sharks, to have the sloth encounter, and to have the river otter encounter. Well, as we were walking through the Sequest place, we get to where the Kinkajou is, and the Kinkajou was playing on his little swing that was in the very back corner of his enclosure. He sees us, he climbs to the front of his cage, and as we're walking the length of his cage, he's like following us. And then we get to where like the door is, like we stop for a minute, and he stops in front of us and like climbs up like the little it's not a fence, but like ropes that's like at the very front of the glass. And you know, obviously we take pictures because he's super cute. Well, then he gets on the floor and he walks over to where you can enter the enclosure, walks over there, sees that we're not following him, so turns around, comes back, gets our attention, you know. And at first we're like, oh, he's just running amok, he's being, you know, animal. But then he would start to walk, and as soon as we stopped, he stopped. And so we get up to his enclosure where you like come in, and he climbs on the door, and it's like he was telling us, you come in right here, this is where you come in. And then he like jumps from where you come in to the bench that they have in there for like the animal encounters. And then he jumps to the bench and he like sits. And by this time, my best friend's like, you know what, we have to do this. He's like telling us to come visit him. And I agreed. And so then we go get some tokens, because you need tokens to see, you know, the animals. And can you all see that? Oh, my hand's right in the way. Sorry, guys. Hopefully that wasn't like the whole video, because that would suck. Anyway, so we go get the tokens and we go into the Kinkajou. And we were just going to let my best friend do the Kinkajou enclosure, because when we checked in for the hotel was more expensive than what it was supposed to be. They weren't supposed to, because my husband's a member with them, wasn't supposed to charge me the fee that they charged to and refund back to us, but she did. Well, that was like all of like, after I did that, our hotel, you know, was supposed to be, you know, $125. And there wasn't supposed to be any fees or anything. You know what? This pin's like kind of dying, so I'm going to grab my Taotree light purple real quick. And I might have to go over like, oh, no, I don't want to do that because I don't want to have to mix colors. We'll just be patient. And so my hotel was supposed to be $125, you know, and so we had planned for, since everything was paid for us already, like all the encounters and everything was paid for us, all we really had to worry about is food and gas. And so I brought enough money to pay for the hotel, for food, and for gas, because that's all I needed. Well, because the hotel ended up charging me $200 and something instead of $125 like they were supposed to, I didn't have any money, you know, to like any extra money. And so my best friend, she's like, you know what? I got you. Don't worry about it. You could get me back. And so, like, she was paying for, you know, a lot of the things, and I would help where I could. You know, like I paid for the gas in my car, and like if we wanted drinks or something, you know, I paid for that. But I was holding on to the last little bit of money I had because I wanted to make sure that I had enough for gas to get home. You know, and so originally she was just going to do the Kikachu encounter. You know, I was fine with that. I was totally okay with that. However, our little guide is like, you know what, come in. Like, you're our VIPs, like, come in. And, you know, we told him, because they radioed him to us, we're like, well, we only paid for one encounter with the Kikachu. And he's like, come in, you're totally fine. So I went in there. He goes, besides, you're the VIPs, right? We're like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, come in. So we go on with the Kikachu guys, and I thought the sloth encounter would be my favorite. No. The Kikachu was actually my favorite. So the Kikachu was very friendly. He'd run around, jump on us, jump on his rope, swing, jump into the bag that we had because we had our swimming clothes because we were going to go swimming with the stingrays. He'd jump on the bag, and then he would like jump onto me. He really liked the back of my shoulders. And then I think that little guy finally realized that there was Velcro on my hat, because as soon as he realized that there was Velcro on my hat, he started to pull apart the Velcro. He's part of the raccoon family, just in case you're wondering. And he would play with the Velcro on the back of my hat. Like, he was obsessed with the Velcro on the back of my hat. And eventually, he ended up taking it off of me. He literally took the hat off of me. So he ended up being my favorite encounter. So, that was awesome. As y'all could see, I finished my picture. I want this little blanket to stay white, so I'm not going to color it. We're just going to sign and date it down here. Oh, and if you hear the little buzzing, that's going to be very common in my videos, because I have a little jellyfish lamp that I got from vacation that I have set up over there, and the bubbles from the little quiet motor makes the little jellyfish swim. So yeah. Alright, you guys, I hope you liked this video. I'm sorry about the lighting. It will be fixed soon, and hopefully when this gets posted onto YouTube, it will be right side up. But if you guys like my coloring chats, if you guys like the pictures that I color, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do choose to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I would really appreciate, please hit that little notification bell so you get a notification every time I upload a new video. Until next time, bye guys!